All right, welcome everyone. This is Sergeant First Class Nathan Hutchison with OCPA-LA, or the Army Entertainment Office. I am joined today with Sergeant First Class Michael Smith, and Michael Smith is an athlete extraordinaire that is part of our Army team. I'm not going to spend much time talking about all the things that he has done and accomplished. I'm going to let him spend some time talking about that. But needless to say, he's won a tremendous amount of awards, including a a ride that he just got back from that was in the middle of our talks uh, the other day, which is why we're doing this recording again, because it turns out that riding bikes and doing an interview is not a not a good combination. But we're happy to have him with us again and leave this up for all to see. So with that, Sergeant Smith.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. Yeah, riding bikes and doing an interview is probably not the best way to do something. But yeah, like you said, I just finished the race across America. It was over 3,000 miles of riding, over 172,000 feet of climbing. We started in Oceanside, California, ended in Annapolis, Maryland, at the Navy Academy. Um, yeah, it was a tremendous experience. I was on an 8-man team. I rode with a team called Team 1 Mile, and basically that team was full of it was a veteran based team with alongside pro athletes. Just the cause, the mission was to raise awareness for the silent killers, for the PTSD, for people suffering in silence. So that was our main mission, to raise money for that. I don't know. Little did I know when I was talking to you, we was in like first place. So we ended up taking first overall for the mixed relay team, which is pretty cool. When you compete in something like that, you always want to do your best and shoot for the top. I don't think any of us knew what place we were in. We was just trying not to suffer as much as possible. So um, yeah. So just I guess a little bit about me. I'm originally from Texas. Joined the Army in '98. Actually getting ready to retire here in about a month or so. I have about 24-ish years in. Got injured, or my MOS is a 13 Delta, originally a 13 Charlie, but 13 Delta. Went on, did a couple of deployments, went on from there to go into recruiting. Uh, Ended up becoming a career recruit as a 79 Romeo, various duty stations across the country. I got injured in 2011 in a hit and run motorcycle accident. Um, you know, I guess at that particular time I thought it was over, but little did I know that was the beginning, of everything. That was the end of one life and the beginning of a new chapter in my life. So uh, pushed on from there and ended up becoming the first above the elbow amputee in the history of the military to receive fit for duty. So yeah, man, I just took that as a a charge of responsibility, um, to show people that you can be knocked down but not knocked out, and the choice is always yours. And so I chose to keep fighting and keep going and participating in various sporting events, Warrior Games, Invictus Games, and um, I even became a para skeleton bobsledder, made the national team in that. Um, and then from there, I found triathlon, and that's where I'm at right now. That's what leads me to the stage I'm at right now. Just shooting for 2024. That's my goal, and uh, I'm looking good. We'll see. How that works out. At 41, so I'm starting pretty late, but at the end of the day, I feel like I have what most people don't, and it's that tenacity, that drive and that will to just, like, I'm one of those people. I'm willing to pass out at the end. Like, I'm willing to give 1,000% for that one race that I need to get to where I want to go. So yeah, man, that's where I'm at. I guess on top of that, I'm also the USA Triathlons elite ambassadorship team captain. I'm also USA Triathlon's Man of the Year. And I just recently, I think about a month ago, I received the Military Sport Award from Team USA as well. So, yeah, I'm on my way. I'm just trying to make it work and give it my all, man.
All right. Um, so for one thing, let's start with, so you said 41, is that you'll be 41 in 2024 or you're 41
Uh,
now?
I'm 41 now, so
Okay. I was just
yeah.
for clarification, not that I'm putting
Oh
a
yeah.
number on you. Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about the process? And, obviously, anytime a soldier uh, goes through trauma, there's a lot to deal with. You dealt with
Right.
trauma probably in a place that you weren't expecting it,
Right.
which is, we go to battle and we expect certain things. Um, you were, in the middle of your recruiting duties. Um, how does that impact you? And then how did you go from there to this point?
Uh, yeah, man. I tell people all the time, like, losing my arm was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because it just changed my whole path. It just threw me on a whole different career path. It just made me respect life and look at it at a different viewpoint. But like you said, the hardest part wasn't the physical being; it was the mental and emotional. Just because of being a combat soldier, a combat armed soldier, you expect to be injured downrange, not here at home. And um, that was one of the biggest battles that I had to fight, was trying to heal, and take advantage of the opportunities that's out there, but also, kind of feeling like I was undeserving of the opportunities just because of, the way I was injured. I mean, granted, it wasn't due to my fault. A lady was texting and driving, but her negligence. But that was the hardest part, just knowing that I was an injured soldier, um, here at home in a car accident, versus, out protecting the country. So, um, that was the hardest thing. And then just trying to get back on track, just trying to accept my new normal, and just knowing that sometimes it's okay not to be okay. There's just things that we can't change. And I think as soon as I recognized that, I was off to the races.
Yeah. Um, we talked before about some of the influences. I would like to hit on so you were sent to the Warrior Transition Battalion, right?
Right.
Um, can you walk me through that part, and then how you ended up in the world class athlete program from there?
Yeah. So, initially, I didn't want to go to the Warrior Transition Unit. I just didn't want to be there. I just didn't want to be in that environment. Um, I think at that particular time, I was like still bitter and angry and just wanted to get my medical retirement and roll out. Um, but I was forced to go. So, and I'm glad I did. I know when I first showed up, I was pretty angry and I was pretty bitter, and um, a young lady by the name of Heather, man, she I don't know what it was like, because I think when I actually first met her, I was probably disrespectful towards her, to be honest with you. And because I went and met her, I was in her office, and she was telling me about all this stuff that I could do and all these different programs, and I pretty much was like, "Yeah, look, lady, I don't even plan on being here that long. Like, just sign this paper so I can get out of here." Um, and I remember she signed it, and I left, and she followed me downstairs, and she, right before I walked out the door, she was like, "Listen," she was like, "I understand," and I was like, "Do you?" And she was like, "No, I really do." And we just kind of had a heart to heart. And um, she found out that I played all Army basketball at one point in time, and I played in college a little bit, so she was like, "There's no reason why you can't get back to that," and she's the one that kind of really jump started that path that I'm on now. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I would have ventured down this road. She's the one that put me in this reconditioning era. Um, and she challenged me, every single day, literally. Um, just from everything, obstacle course racing, marathons, you name it. I did it, horseback riding, whatever it was, she threw it in my way and she challenged me. And, I'm one of those people that if you challenge me, then I'll accept it. As much as I don't want to do it, I'll do it just to prove you wrong. So, she challenged me every day. And so I give her tons of credit of why I even started, the path that I'm on, this journey that I'm on. And then, just another influential person that came into my life while I was at the transition unit was Colonel Edwards and his wife, Miss Renee. Just again, somebody that came into my life as a light colonel, came into my life and just saw the potential, and he saw stuff in me that I have yet to recognize, and he's just, when you're in that Wounded Warrior atmosphere, there's a lot of chaos and there's a lot of drama. It's a lot of, it's just a lot of, you have a lot of soldiers trying to recover and discover their new normal. So, and I think, I was starting to, I know I was starting to go down the wrong path, and he just kind of grabbed me and reeled me, he reeled me in, and he just kind of accepted me. It's almost like he just took me in as his own. His wife, Miss Renee Edwards, she took me in, and like, she just became like a mother figure to me, as well as other people, but like, they specifically were on me really, really tough and forced me to, I don't want to say grow up, but they forced me to soldier again, you know what I mean? And they just gave me a chance at life that, I didn't know that I had. Because at the end of the day, it was his call whether or not I stayed in. And he wrote a recommendation letter. And he's just another one of those people that came in my life that jump started my career over again, So I call him and Miss Renee my jumper cables, because my battery was dead and they came in and jump started it. So yeah, being at the transition unit was really, that was a tough go around, just because of the atmosphere. I didn't like the atmosphere. So that was a tough go around. And I just saw like, I recognized that I still had a lot of leadership capabilities and qualities that that the Army still could benefit from. And so I fought to stay in, and I received my fit for duty, and I went back to recruiting and continued on with my mission.
Yeah. And technically, with the World Class Athlete program, it falls under, uh, doesn't it fall under recruiting command?
Yeah, it does now. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Which is funny because I had never even heard of the World Class Athlete program until like 3.5 years ago. I had no idea, and I had been in recruiting this whole time. I had no idea that was even a thing. And now that I'm in, in WCAP, it's so funny because now recruiting command, everybody that I used to work with at headquarters, the generals, the sergeants, they all come up to WCAP, and I see them, and it's like a huge family reunion. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so, transitioning to that, well, so we should highlight the fact that, one of the Army's, I guess, signature sayings right now is, the people first. And that starts on an individual level, right? And
Oh,
so this
100%.
lieutenant colonel, you know, he was influential because he was an individual doing, looking out for a soldier, and
Right,
looking out for multiple soldiers, I'm sure.
right.
Um, and now you are, at least internally charged with the same task. And,
Right.
how has that been working through you?
I mean, it's good. I mean, and it's kind of like one of those life lessons, right? Like where, somebody takes you in and they make you realize. And um, I did, like you said, I internalized that, man. And I've learned from that. And like I said, I feel like I was charged with a responsibility to not only recover for myself and heal and move forward, but, to reach down and do the same for others, and I've learned that, I've learned to just be open about my story and be open about, all the different obstacles I faced. And I just know as many times as I can tell my story, the better, just because at some point it's helping somebody, right? So, and I've had the opportunity to talk to several people who's come to me and be like, hey man, like, how did you do this? How did you do that? Or I'm really hurting right now. I'm going through some stuff, do you mind talking? So, I mean, honestly, that's what happened to me yesterday. I was on base going through my retirement briefing, and then this young lady pulled me to the side and she kind of like opened up to me, and that 30-second opening up turned into like a 6-hour conversation. And I ended up going to talk to the Garrison Sergeant Major and, and a chaplain, because she really needed some help. But I'm glad that she saw my arm and she saw my situation, and it made her curious, and she got to ask some questions, and we had a conversation, and one thing led to another. But at the end of the day, I was able to get her some help. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in a pretty unique role, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and it's I mean it's significant that you've taken something that, I mean, some people get mad about, you know, their how hot their water was in the morning before they go to work, and that can ruin your day. And you've taken something that is a significant life event, and you've turned it around, and it really is something that helps put people into perspective, and put your problems in perspective, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, losing my arm was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me, because it showed me how to put life learned lessons in perspective, right? So like, um I'm super laid back. I'm so calm. Like, I feel like I have the same demeanor all the time. um my family, they're just like, oh, like they watched me finish the race, and they was like, you didn't seem like you were super excited. I was like, oh, I was, but I'm just so calm and laid back now. Like, I receive things differently now, even on the race. I mean, I faced some challenges. I even had a guy try to hit me with his car during the race, and then was screaming out racial slurs. It was like telling me I don't belong here, all types of stuff. And my
Wow.
teammates were with me, and they saw this, and they were like furious. Like, they was wanting to chase the dude down. Like, they was wanting to kill that dude. And I just kind of, like I said, I receive situations differently now, and I had to tell them, like, listen, this is where we're at now. This is the world, and if I go retaliate, and if I get into an altercation with him, that doesn't make me any better than him. Like, that makes me actually worse, because I let him, get me to a point where, that's outside of my character. So, um, I just kind of broke it down to them, and they actually had a chance to see what my life is like through my own eyes, which was, I feel like everything happens for a reason. Um, and my team is made up of pros and, former pros and Navy SEAL and all that. So like, they live like a different life than I live and have lived. So they got the opportunity to see it firsthand. And it became a pretty emotional event for them. For me, I was just like, all right, whatever. Like, all right, you're ignorant, you're dumb. Like, I'm gonna let you think and say what you want to say, because at the end of the day, I know that none of that stuff is true. So whatever. Like, words only mean
Yeah,
so
you
much to me. Like,
let them own the hate, and you
yeah,
don't want
yeah,
to get
words
sucked
only mean
into
so
that.
much. Yeah. So, but like I said, had that happened like 12 years ago, it'd have been, I probably would be on the front of Army Times. Army soldier kills somebody. Hey, I would have went off. Like, it would have been a problem. I would have went chase them down. But now I'm just like, I handled it way different. I was able to educate other people based on that. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, man, everything happens for a reason. I feel like we're put in positions for a reason, and I just try to handle each obstacle, all the adversity, in the most methodical and mature way as I can.
Yeah. So one thing that we talked about last time, and is also, you know, pretty important, and one of the important groups that you said helped you through this process was your family. So can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Was who?
Your family.
Oh, yeah, man. man, I'm all about family. I have a twin sister, and she means like the world to me. My sister, my mom, my grandmother, like my grandparents, man, they mean the world to me. And without a doubt, like I know if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have the state of mind that I have, and I wouldn't have had the will or the want to continue on. When I did get hurt, um, I pay tribute to the Army a lot for my mental thought and my tenacity. But my mom, she raised me to be the man that I am. So. Um, yeah, family is huge to me, man, and relationships. Period. I'm all about relationships, because I just feel like at the end of the day, just treating people like humans, being a good human, and establishing rapport, establishing relationships. You know what I mean? That's just easy. That should be like the way of life, So I'm a firm believer in that, and um, yeah, my family plays a huge role in everything I do. Like they're my biggest fans, especially my mom and sister. Like I probably get like 40 texts from them a day. My mom would text me every single morning, and she knows if I'm busy, I can't reply or whatever. But yeah, faithfully, she texts me good morning and good night every single day. So it's good to have those kind of roots.
Yeah. And what about your kids?
Yeah, so I have two daughters, 17 and 18. Um, I mean, another reason why I am who I am and the type of father that I am. On my darkest days, my youngest Akaya was just like, you know, I don't know if that day I was struggling or she just, had kind of seen me going down the rabbit hole, but she was like, out the blue, she was like, Dad, she was like, you're still my superhero. And like it's things like that, man, that comes from your kids. When she was only 9 at the time, so it's stuff like that, that kids see and they witness, and they're not dumb. Like they know what's going on, and they know she knew what kind of emotional state I was in, and it was like at that moment, it was just like another switch, right? It was just another jumper cable that was like, okay, so you got to get up out, you got to get out of this mode because you're not living for yourself. You're living for people around you, people that I have to support, and so that was another switch that just hit home, and it just took me to another level. So I just try to every instance, every situation, I just try to use it to just as not necessarily as a platform, but as a jumper cable, right? Like just taking me to another level. So just continue to climb, continue to grow, and yeah, just continue to be, the best version of me.
Yeah. Uh, what are your thoughts moving forward with the Army? And so obviously you're retiring, um, but this is a program that so you spend a small percentage of your time in the Army
Right.
with the WCAP. Do you have any plans on continuing a relationship there, or what's your?
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, I just, I told my first on Ramos the other day. I think he's the one that initially told me about this, but when he reached out and I was telling him, I was like, man, whatever I could do, like, so I'm a soldier always. I'm always gonna be a leader, no matter where I'm at in the world, no matter how long I've been retired. I'm always a soldier, and I'm always willing to lead and to mentor and groom and inspire. Like that's just in me as a person. But I always want to be a part of WCAP and the process, man. We just had two. I mean, after I talked to you, we had two track and field athletes that qualified for Tokyo, the Olympics, and I thought it was so dope because on their post they tagged me in their post and was like, "Hey, shout out to, Sar Smith, aka Dream Chaser, for just encouraging me when I needed it." And he was like, and one of them said, even without talking to him, me going to his Facebook and looking and just seeing how inspiring he is just encouraged me to keep moving forward. Um, so I mean, that's my role. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people spend a lifetime trying to figure out what their purpose is. Um, but the minute I accepted my new normal, the minute I accepted the person that I'm going to be and who I am, like I knew my purpose, and my purpose is to encourage, motivate, and inspire. Like that is my purpose. My purpose is to help. My purpose is to help make a change. in my own way. And I knew it starts with me. So, I just try to do what I can in my own way to just create change.
Awesome. And so after the accident, that was 11 years ago, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so for 11 years, you've stayed in the Army. You fought to stay in the Army, and then you stayed in the Army. Only, about 4 years of that was with the WCAP. And so the rest of that time, you know, you were just doing the Army job every day for the most part.
Yep. Yep.
And, how do you relate that to soldiers and say, not only am I where I am, I have fought to be here. And how does that relate just to a state of mind, an Army state of mind? How do you see that?
Well, I mean, so like I said, I've had the opportunity to speak at several Army balls. I mean, several, Army engagements, and the way I convey that to other soldiers, leadership, whoever is, yeah, I'm this elite athlete right now, but I always was. This is new to me, right? I mean, 4 years in this program, and I'm still considered a rookie. So before that, I was grinding like every single soldier, every other soldier. But what I tell them is I fought. So I fought to be here. I wanted to be here. This was not something like they told me I had to do. I mean, I could have left a long time ago with 100% disability, medical retirement. I could have done all of that, and been well on my way. But I fought to stay here. I fought to still stay in and fight and work with my, the people, that wear the same uniform that me and you both wear. So, and I just tell them, like, never settle. The Army is never going to go the way we want it to 100% of the time. But the times that it doesn't go your way, you can't get complacent and just start to settle for the things that you don't want. And I just tell them, if you want it, you got to go seek it. And when you find out, when you seek it, go get it. Nobody controls your destiny like you do. Not even the Army. And it's so crazy to say that, but the Army doesn't control your destiny. You control your destiny. You control how far you go. You control what type of job you do, because if you really want it, you'll figure it out. I really wanted to stay in the Army, so I figured it out, and the odds were against me. Like, it hadn't been done before, so just because it hasn't been done before doesn't mean it can't be done. So I decided to be that trendsetter, and I tell people, other soldiers, be that trendsetter, be that one out of 1,000 soldiers who decides to go to a different route. That route it's the easy left or the hard right, and that hard right is not, it's against the grain and it's not the popular decision. But if that's what you feel is for you and you're willing to work for it, go get it. So it's kind of how I, convey that to other soldiers and other people, period.
Yeah. Now, because our audience is, we're dealing with a Hollywood audience, is there anything that stands out in a particular movie or anything else that, either sticks with you or sticks with you because you're like, well, that's not how it is. Is there?
Uh, I don't know, man. Like, so back in like 2014, they were casting for they wanted a person of color that was an arm amputee to cast for this role for some movie, and I forget the name of the movie. I don't even know if it ever came out. I don't know, but like, I just remember it was in Dallas, and it was in California. They were like had me put on this uniform and had it all like shredded up and like the fake blood and all this and all that. And I just remember like some of the role I was playing and some of the lines they wanted me to say and how they wanted me to act. And I was like, this is a kind of like, that's not how this works. I was like, I'm not about to, I was like, I'm an active duty soldier. Like, I'm not about to portray this role, because that's not true. Like, it's not how any of this works. I was like, y'all might want to consult somebody so y'all can get the true meaning behind of all of this and how this really operates. Because as of now, like, Nah, it was something crazy. Like I was supposed to lose my arm, and then I was supposed to, like, I don't know, I was supposed to fly from, I think, Iraq all the way back home while people were working on me and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't work like that, buddy. Don't doesn't work like that. You don't get picked up by a bird and you fly all the way back to the States. You know, there's other protocol. You go to Germany. There's so many other things that there's that in between state, and there's just some of the roles they was having, or some the role they wanted me to play was just really weird. So I was like, nah, that ain't for me. So yeah.
How do you feel about the, so if there's people, yeah, we'll touch on the recruiting side, right? Because,
Okay.
so if there's athletes that are thinking about joining the Army, do you
Mhm.
think that this is the viable place for them? I mean, especially with the WCAP and
Uh,
I put you on the spot.
nah. I mean, it's a good question actually. So I would tell you, I would like to say 90% of the athletes in WCAP are off the street. They don't have any prior service experience, and you can see it. And it's frustrating for me being a senior NCO and just watching some of the nonsense that goes on. But man, I don't know. Is it an opportunity? Absolutely, 100%. Um, but my challenge for people, for athletes like that, if I was still in recruiting, my challenge to them would be like, because I'll say most of the athletes we get are like top tier athletes already. They're like national champions, world champions, on the verge of going to the Olympics, and they choose to come in, or they need like that extra income, that extra support. So that's their only reason for coming into the Army, right? So, and everybody has their own individual reasons. I don't knock it one way or the other. You know, everybody comes in for different reasons. When I came in the Army, it wasn't for the Army. It wasn't to fight. It was to help support my mom and sister. So my reasons were very, very different. It wasn't even for college money. I could care less about that at the time, you know? So I guess my challenge to people like, to other athletes would be to really do your homework about the Army, because you can only be a pro athlete for so long. And your window for the Olympics is about that big. You know what I mean? So rarely do you ever see repeat Olympians. You know what I mean? Like it's so far few in between because people are so talented these days. I mean, yeah, it's just so rare that you get that phenom athlete. And typically those phenom athletes that can repeat like that are not in the they're not in the military. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can get sponsorships, they can do what they want to do. So my goal, or my challenge to them would be to really know what that Army life is like. Because once you're done being an athlete, you're still obligated to the Army. You still owe the Army some time. So and a lot of them, when the athletic career is over, it hits them like a ton of bricks. Like, oh, I gotta go play soldier now. I gotta go. I gotta go ruck up. I gotta go do this regular. I gotta go play GI Joe or GI Jane every single day now. Like, it's a different story than putting on Team USA sweats every day versus putting on OCP. So yeah. I don't
All
know.
right.
That's a good one though. I don't know. The program is built for athletes, right? So I would like to see uh, them be some sort of prior service first, get some sort of Army knowledge under their belt, at least 2 years before they can come into the program. I mean, just because these kids they're kids and they're coming straight off the street and they don't
Yeah.
know any better. What they know of the Army is basic training, AIT. I mean, both me and like they don't even hardly soldier there anymore. They just basically going to class. They're not even really soldiering like there. So I would like to see them do some time on the line and then come in. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and that's a part that you don't see,
Right.
when, so we have people competing for the Olympics right now or about to start the Olympics. And, you get that pride from seeing the U.S. Army soldiers up there.
Right.
But as far as what their background is or anything else, you don't really know anything about them other than the fact that they're a soldier.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you really don't know. I mean, I've honestly, I've met people that's been in WCAP their entire careers, and they've been in 10 plus years, and it's been as an athlete, and then from an athlete they turn into a coach. So yeah, like I mean, it's still honorable. It's still a sense of pride when you can look on the podium and see like that huge, Army emblem. There's no other branch that puts more athletes on the Olympic team than the Army. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean that's super prideful. You know what I mean? And that's that's something that we can be proud of. But yeah, like you said, we don't know the backstory. So
All right. I think that's about all I got, except for, I'd like to open it up and, if you have anything to add, that you would like to,
yeah,
impart.
so yeah, definitely. So in the midst, I would say in the midst of all this chaos, you know what I mean? We kind of hit on it earlier on how the world is and, how people are mistreating each other, this, that, and the other. So I'm in a sport, of triathlon where, I'm by far the minority. Like I show up to races and I am the only person of color there, you know what I mean? And I guess I would say, in the midst of my triathlon careers when all the George Floyd stuff started happening and all the soldier inequality stuff started happening. So I was able to co-found a nonprofit foundation called Swim Bike Run for Equality, and it's basically it's initiative primitive is based on sports because sports is that one thing in the world that people from all over can come together and root, cheer, have a good time, and there's no issues, right? There's hardly ever any racial stuff, no racism. Like it doesn't matter who you are, what you look like, where you come from. We're all cheering for that one person or that one team. So, the basis of that, my foundation is just to give somebody something to cheer about, right? And just get people off the couch and get them involved and just have them, look beyond themselves, and focus on humanity, right? And just, accept each other for who we are. And, like I said, no matter what the person to your left or right, no matter their skin color or, how big or how small or, what gender they identify with or religion background, it's just about being a good person. So, um, in the midst of all this chaos and COVID, man, like, I think I'm one of the few people that can say, man, COVID and yeah, COVID 2020, 2019, I mean, that was the best 2 years of my life so far. I mean, it's crazy to say that, but like, I was able to bury my head and focus on my, my athletic achievements. And I was also able to focus on my foundation and try to make changes, not only to people in uniform, but just all over the world. And, when we're making our way, and I think that's important. Like I said earlier, I think you can't expect anybody else around you to change if you haven't changed yourself, so I can't preach to you telling you what to do if I don't believe it in myself or if I'm not working on myself as well, right? So this is just my way and my foundation's way of just saying like, we just want humanity to be good. We just want to be good to each other. So that's one of the things I'm gonna focus on when I retire is my foundation and moving forward and mentoring and just trying to make this world a better place, in my own little special way, I guess.
Awesome. And that's what, I think it's all of it's significant, but, you know, definitely handling yourself under pressure, uh, through aggression and, uh, that's a that's a level of calm that, most people can't achieve, regardless of the background, regardless of anything else. Um, but I mean, if you could bottle that up and sell it, then we'd be a, it'd be a lucrative business.
100%.
And I don't know if you can teach something like that, but I mean that's good on you for trying. That's significant.
Yeah, I don't think you can teach it. It's like that old saying in the Army, you just gotta lead by example, right? Some of the best leaders I've had, they weren't great teachers, but they led by example. So it was easy to follow them into combat. It was easy to take orders or direction from them because they led by example. You know what I mean? So just trying to lead by example. So, people can just be like, when people meet me, I don't want them to be like, oh, I met this dude, he was a great athlete. I just want them to be like, oh man, he was a good person. He was a good human being, so it's easy to get behind him and follow him. And it's easy to follow his cause, so yeah.
All right. Well, Michael Smith might be a hard name to single you out when people are looking you up, but all they have to do is look for the photo of the guy with the medals around his neck.
Yeah, that's it.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, and dream catcher is kind of your slogan, right? I mean, there are your
Yeah. So it's funny. So I actually in the process, so I have a publicist and she's actually in the process of patenting that logo. So it'll be hashtag dream chaser. So we're actually in the process of patenting that, so nobody can steal my glory.
gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, and I I hope to hear nothing but great things from you in the future. And this is great information, and even the second time around, and
Right.
without the wind this time.
Right.
Uh, all right.